What's up, everyone? It is Tycho from Your Voice Media, and today I'm talking to the amazing, the fabulous, okay, the legendary, iconic Essence Atkins.
Oh my God.
And I was telling her before we hopped on here that the little boy in me is jumping, as I'm sure it is for y'all watching this, because we have literally grown up with you, okay? From being Miss Tasha Yvette Henderson
That's
to
right.
being DeeDee, okay? And we love you as DeeDee, honey. All
Thank
the way to Ambitions, and now
you.
Coins Forever. Now, Coins Forever is closing the chapter as the final chapter of the story arc airs November 14th. What
Mhm.
can viewers expect as we close out this amazing story?
Oh, thank you. Viewers can expect obstacles. I mean, there's always an obstacle to our happily ever after, heavenly ever after too. There's obstacles for that. So Madison, we've seen Madison and Alec start off as employer-employee. In the first movie, Madison loses her job and she's trying to salvage Christmas. So she's doing whatever she can to try and make ends meet for her kids and get them something. And she ends up working for Alec Darby, who's transitioning out of football reluctantly due to an injury. And he's a very prickly person. So they don't necessarily get along in the initial film, Coins for Christmas. And it's through them needing each other, him needing an assistant, her needing money, that they get to know each other and they gain respect for one another and admiration for one another. And it leads into a friendship, which we see in the second movie. In this movie, it's a will they or won't they. And the will they or won't they is not just about will they or won't they get married and be together and choose each other, but it's also about like, how are they showing up and who's on their team? Because our relationships don't exist in bubbles. We have people who are in our ear. We have relationships that are around us that affect us, that affect our choices. And so it's also a matter of, is everyone going to get on board with their coupling? And there's definitely, and we have a new character come to play with us, remarkably, by Golden Brooks, who is amazing. And she is definitely an obstacle. And she has her opinions about who Alec should be with.
Oh no, okay, let me tell you something. When I was watching, I said, this is not the Golden that I know. But it was amazing
Right.
to just see her switch things up. And we definitely fall in love with her character as well as yours. And speaking of Madison, when you originally saw the character of Madison, what were your initial thoughts of her? And now that, we've ended this amazing story, what are your thoughts on her now?
Well, initially, what I loved is what I talked about is her resilience, right? Her willingness to take life's lemons and try and make lemonade, right? So she loses her job in the first movie. She gets this notice from the IRS saying they're like, going to freeze her account because her ex-husband owes back taxes. And she's like, well, all of that be darned, I'm going to figure out Christmas for my kids. I'm going to figure out something. And I love that about her. And that continues throughout all three movies. We see that Madison is a woman who pivots. Madison is a woman who falls down 7 times and gets up 8. And so I love that about her. Where Madison struggles is in hoping for a good outcome. She's so been defeated by disappointments that it's hard for her to take a risk. It's hard for her to like trust that something is going to work out that she really wants. She knows how to work hard. She's not afraid of that, but it's hard for her to have faith. And so that's part of, the full circle of where she gets to at the end of this series is her finding her faith.
I love that. Now, Madison introduces her new boo to her children. They kind of have this amazing dynamic. You kind of see it in the film for those who are going to watch this Sunday. And they seem to hit it off. Now, as a mother yourself, what is the best way to introduce your child to a new potential partner that may be entering in your life?
What's funny is I don't know because I've never done it. I've been divorced. It'll be 6 years in January, and I've never introduced my son to anyone. It just hasn't been significant. Anyone who's been in my life which hasn't been many, but if I've dated, it just hasn't progressed to the point where it was necessary to introduce my son to someone. I would only do that if I really thought that there was the potential for long term. I try to create a lot of consistency for my son. The
Yeah.
upheaval of my divorce was really challenging for him. He was 4, so still old enough to kind of remember and not, and still too young to really process what was happening. So I really guard that part. And also I guard my home and my space. Like I really don't let people come here that aren't in my life for long term and that I don't feel safe with. So I don't know. I'll have to learn that, I guess, at some point. Jesus, what you waiting on?
And Jesus over here too, okay? We've been waiting over here for like 5 years. So what are you waiting on from me, okay?
But you know, I have had conversations with my son about dating. And what I'm trying to get him to understand, because he's 9 now, I'm trying to get him to understand that just because you're dating someone, that's really data collection. That doesn't mean that you're there, that person will be your boyfriend. That doesn't mean that you'll get married. It's not a guarantee. Dad, you know, it's really about like learning someone, getting to know someone new. And that's a hard thing for him to understand, because you know, in movies you date, you get engaged, you get married, and like you're one big happy blended family. Yeah. I'm like, no, you gotta kiss some frogs in between the prints.
I love that. Now, you know, we have seen you in some amazing, amazing shows. And there's a few shows that we loved you in and didn't get its just due. We loved you in Marlon. We loved you in Missions. And the now canceled pilot that we were waiting and rooting for. We were rooting for you. Black Don't Crack, okay?
And when I tell you, it was such a disappointment to all of us. We had an amazing time. And for those of you who don't know, Black Don't Crack was a pilot that we shot in the spring of this year, 2021, for ABC that didn't get picked up. And it reunited Tahj Mowry, who played the smart guy, and myself.
Exactly.
And you know, he's still incredibly talented, incredibly generous, so sweet, so handsome, so dynamic and interesting as an actor to watch. Just makes incredible choices. But now he has man hands, and I was like, "What happened? You were a little boy, and now you're like a grown man.
And now you're tall."
Yeah, now you're like grown. Like, but it was a great disappointment. Viola Davis and Larry Wilmore were our EPs, 2 of our EPs. We had Kelly Park, who is an incredible female director. She really did an incredible job. So it's disappointing, but you know, again, going back to what I said about being able, the way Madison does, I think we all need to be able to know that life sometimes will hand you lemons. So it's really important to have some water and sugar on hand.
Do we have a new home yet for it? Like, can we get it?
No, it's not gonna, unfortunately, it's not gonna find a home because all of our contracts have expired. So we're all doing other things. And thankfully, you know, that's the thing about this business, is like you get your heart broken. I don't think that you can be an actor and not risk getting your heart broken, both on screen and off, because there are projects and things and stories that you fall in love with that you really want to tell, and sometimes it just doesn't go your way for one reason or another, beyond your control. And and life goes on, and you have to know that something else that is perfect for you will happen.
Now, Tahj had told CinemaBlend that, you know, we're in the early stages of a potential smart guy reboot, okay? Now, have you been approached to return as Tasha Yvette Henderson, and would you do the reboot?
I have not seen a script. I have been asked about it. I'm absolutely open. I would be very curious to see where these characters were all these years later and how their lives turned out. You know, I'm definitely open. I mean, what I love about these characters all these years later, looking back, is that there's such a there's such a humanness to them that, I mean, as much as the circumstances were extraordinary and that the 10-year-old was a genius and going to high school with his older brother and sister, I
Yeah.
think that the way that Floyd parented in the midst of his own heartbreak, having been a widower, and then owning his own construction company and his own business, and then parenting 3 kids alone, I think that the way that he parented with strength, with compassion, with humor, with a lot of wisdom, I
He was a
think is,
great TV dad,
he was a great TV
like
dad,
an
a great
amazing.
TV dad. And I think that, for my own character, for Yvette, she struggled with knowing what her place was. She's the only woman in a house dominated by men. And also, she is a young woman and she has lost her mother. So she's without a maternal figure, and also trying to figure out, is she the woman of the house, how to be the woman of the house, but she's still a
Yeah.
teenager.
It's a
So
struggle
there,
dynamic.
yeah, and then the sibling rivalry between Jason and Tahj. So I think that it would be really cool to see where they ended up and what their stories line and how their lives intertwined as adults. I'm very open to it.
Hey, now you did share Instagram when Half and Half did appear on Netflix. You said it changed your life and it changed many others as well. But you wish that you had a chance to tell more stories when it came to
Yeah.
DeeDee and Mona. Now, what are some of the stories you wish we would have saw for DeeDee and Mona? Because we ended on a cliffhanger, and I'm still mad about it because I still want to know, did Mona choose Chase or Lorenzo? And was DeeDee going to end up with Brett? Like, are there some?
Well, okay, so I can tell you this because Yvette Lee Bowser, who was our showrunner and head writer, she finally spilled the beans. I think it was 2 days ago on my Instagram. She answered who Mona chose. So Mona was going to choose Chase, played by Lamont Rucker.
I knew it. Okay. I definitely knew she was gonna choose Chase. Okay. The young person in me feels like satisfied now.
And then as far as Brett and DeeDee, I think the plan was that they were gonna open their own sports agency. And it was going to be very much like a Sam and Diane type of Cheers romance where you're like, are they going to get together? Are they not going to get together? Like, so I think we were going to live in that for a while, but they were definitely going to leave their company. Excuse me, I got a little bit of a reaction to some tea going down the wrong way, but they were definitely going to leave their company and open their own sports agency. So they were going to be together in some way.
Okay. Look, and for y'all who love Half and Half, I told you I got the scoop for y'all. Okay. So this makes me happy. Now, one thing that I definitely want to ask is, how do you deal with your haters? Because in the film, Golden Brooks is not your ally. Okay. She is not your friend.
Yes. Yeah.
So her character is not your friend. So how do you specifically deal with someone who is a hater or who tries to, work at every inch to see you, destruct? Like, how do you deal with that?
It's interesting. I'm very fortunate in that the majority of the people who follow me on social media that interact or comment on my posts are incredibly supportive and positive. Every now and again, there is, as you said, a person who lives to demean or diminish or dismiss my accomplishments, my looks, whatever.
Yeah.
It's painful. I'm sensitive, so it's not that it doesn't affect me, but what I end up doing is I end up remembering that there's a reason for this behavior because these people don't know me, they've never met me, and there's something that is causing them to seek out this kind of disruption and this kind of divisiveness somewhere where they needn't go. Like, we will never, our paths are not crossing in real life. It's
Right.
not like we interchange or interface in the supermarket and we have an altercation. This is someone who is actively seeking to come to your page and hate on you, right?
Yes.
You don't know them and they just decide, I'm going to go on your page and tell you about yourself. Well, there's no one forcing them to go on your page. Yeah. So I always consider, like, what is it about their life that is causing this kind of pain,
Yeah.
this need for attention, this venom, right? This kind of malign spirit. And so what I have found is, unless it's like offensive in a like where I don't feel safe, like, you know, if it's a violent thing, then I block them and report it and all that. But if it's just like negativity, I just try and love on them.
I love
I
that.
just try not to get pulled into their circle. I'm like, you know what? That's your opinion, but there's a reason that you're coming on my page. So there's something about me that you're attracted to, you know, and I just try to love them and see them and hear them out. And if they have a valid point or a valid criticism, then I might consider that. But most of all, I don't really want to be a part of cancel culture. That is not where my heart is.
Yeah.
I believe in the power of redemption. I mean, you have to as a storyteller. That's
Yeah.
always the story, right? It's like
True.
either you're being redeemed or you're on your way to hellfire. But it's always about, where is this person? Where is your protagonist going to end up? Are they going to choose light or darkness? Are they going to choose love or hate? So it's like the basic part of human nature. And so I definitely believe in a redemptive path, and I don't want to be an obstacle in your redemption. So what I'm going to do, if you come at me with some stuff, I'm going to love on you. And either you'll come back for more or you'll go away because you don't want it. And I'm okay with that either way.
Approach. I need to grab what you're saying to me and put this in myself when I have the haters under my comments. So I'm gonna start taking the Essence Atkins approach, because sometimes I'm like, oh, like they sometimes it stings a little. But I think as
Of course,
people
of
who
course.
are in this space, or just, people who have grown and are secure within themselves, when you're securing yourself, you don't really have to go back and forth. It's kind of just like, I'm good over here, baby. And you may
No,
have to
and
give
you're
it
not
a shot.
seeking out people to criticize or comment on in a negative way. If I
Yeah.
see something I don't like, I unfollow or I just keep going. Like I don't feel the need to insert my opinion and my criticism,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, everyone, no matter who they are, has some sort of struggle, some sort of thing that they are struggling with, that they are battling, that they are overcoming. And again, it's not my objective to be a stumbling block in anyone's redemptive path. I believe that it's really important that if I can lead them to Christ, if I can lead them to God, if I can lead them to wholeness, if I can lead them to love, if I can lead them to healing just by being kind, then what does that cost me?
That part. That part. I agree. Now, Essence, as much
Yes.
as I don't want to let you go, I now have to let you go. Okay. It's so refreshing to speak, with you, because it just feels like I'm talking to like an old friend I'm catching up with. It's been a
Good.
while. So this
Good.
has
That's
been
how
just
I want it
refreshing.
to feel.
Yes, a conversation is how I always try to make my interviews. Now, for my last question is, why should folks tune in for Coins Forever for its final story? Like, what is it about this movie that is going to want to have people say, oh my God, I need to tune in. This is amazing. Everyone needs to sit down and watch.
Well, I think, it is really the conclusion of what has been a journey. And I am a person who loves to go on a journey with people. I mean, originally when we did Coins for Christmas, it wasn't supposed to be a trilogy. That wasn't in the concept. That wasn't how we were approached. It happened because it resonated with audiences, because people watched and they fell in love with these characters and
Yeah.
where they were in their lives, and they felt like it wasn't a typical ending for a Christmas movie. And that's because I guess somewhere we weren't supposed to end there. And this is truly the ending of the story. But again, I believe that it leaves people with some valuable tools in terms of fall down and get back up, be like Madison, be resilient, make a way. Don't let life's lemons stop you from being creative, from prospering, because Madison prospers in her life. She's an overcomer, and I love that about her. But it's also about hope. It's about learning to let go of your past pains and not let them inhibit you from new hope.
Thank you just for today. Thank you
You're
for chatting
welcome.
with your voice media. And thank you for chatting with me. I mean, I have gotten the tea. I now know it's another one of my favorite show. And I also got to just hear your perspective because this movie is truly amazing. I was able to see it and I actually watched it again because it was
Oh,
actually really, really, really good. Like, first of all, just seeing an amazing Black cast, diverse storytelling, and just like different perspectives on different situations was just so fulfilling. And y'all definitely tackled a lot of current social media things that are happening. So I think
yeah.
you did a lot in one movie, and
Thank
everyone's
you.
gonna enjoy it. So continue on. I hope I get to see you in a smart guy reboot. We get that. Out of all the reboots that we get, I think we need that. And if Yvette's listening, I hope we get to have a continuation of half and half, but we're gonna have to work on that one too. Okay.
Thank you, Ty. It's been
Thank
a
you so
pleasure. Thank you
much.
so much.